Hello and welcome to Career Center. I am Kimberly White, Executive Director of the Community Career Center, a resource center located in Naperville for people in career transition. If you are unemployed, underemployed, or seeking a career change, this show is for you. Career Center will bring human resource professionals and other experts together to provide job search tips to assist you as you search for your next success. I am so excited to have with me today Brittany Angelilli of Dice T. Brittany, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So Brittany, tell me a little bit about Dice T. It's an acronym.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about each one, what it stands for.
Well, it stands for Discover, Inspire, Coach, Empower, and Transition. And professional business coaches Maureen Keene and Paul Glover have years of experience between the two of them and individually. And they're really working with companies, organizations, and millennial to seek jobs as well as help communicate better within organizations, because there seems to be a little bit of a tension between baby boomers maybe thinking sometimes that millennial are coming in and stealing these jobs, but they're working to kind of create a better communication between the two, and they're also great at coaching millennial to help them find jobs, working to really improve their resume, get it looking very pretty and ready for their dream job, as well as coach them for like interviews, do mock interviews, things of that nature, and if they have any specific questions, and maybe searching for a job specified to what they're looking for. Okay,
and do they work with the seasoned worker as well? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, they do. Yes, definitely. We're looking to work with big organizations to help maybe a little bit more with their onboarding systems to kind of become a little bit more up to date in terms of what millennials are looking for in their dream job and what a job that they would be willing to stay.
Okay. So. And your primary focus there is social media, website design?
Definitely. I've created our website, which is dice-t.net, and we have a list of our services there, as well as we do Web and Wows, which is our webinars, and all of those are listed on our site, and we actually have one coming up December 18th. And yeah, we have everything listed up on our site there, but also I've set up our Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and things of that nature, which are really important to connecting with everybody today, because everybody seems to be on there, not only millennial, but you know, the baby boomers and Generation X and all of those. So.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about social media and job search. How has social media changed job search?
Well, first thing that I think of when I think of social media that's really great for searching jobs is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is absolutely fabulous. I think of it as a secondary resume. So if you're handing in a resume, you want to have that LinkedIn at the top of the page. If you're sending it via email, you want to have that hyperlink available. And it's a really great way to show an extension of your resume. List any extraordinary things that you've done on there. You can list any certificates that you've earned, maybe little tiny things that you wouldn't necessarily want to kind of put on the page or 2 pages. It's a
profile. It's not, and you like attach your resume at some point, but it's a profile.
And it's a way to show yourself in a little bit more of a casual way, because you can list articles and kind of post things that interest you, maybe out of the job market, but might intrigue employers. But also Twitter and Facebook are great for learning more about companies that you want to apply for. It's, like I said, it's more personal, so it's going to be a little bit different than their website. It's going to share a little bit more about what their motto might be, or if you might fit in with their culture. And I think that that's a really great way. And you can also search like hashtags on Twitter, just job seeking or job searching or jobs, job tips, anything like that. And companies love to post on there because that's where a lot of us are looking.
And employers, to your point, they're posting jobs on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and all the sites. Great. So how do you effectively grow on social media?
This is something that when I first started with Dice T, Maureen and Paul had a lot of questions about, and my main focus was creating an authentic voice, because the people out there who are following you, these are tangible people. These are real people. They're not just, big corporate organizations. And even if they are, there are real people who are managing these sites. So creating an authentic voice, sharing a story, not just creating speaking at people, but creating a communication between your followers and yourself, I think, is one of the main points that you want to get when you're trying to grow on social media.
Okay. So what are some things that job seekers can do to increase their social media interview presence or process?
Like to gain more followers on their social media? Well, something that we do on Dice T is, like I said, creating that story. So say you're having a meeting, or you are having an event, or somebody on your team is speaking at an event, tweet about that event and not just say like, oh, we're having this event on this day. Be excited about it, and maybe say like who is presenting and why you're proud of them, or what they've had to do to get there. Just creating more of a story as opposed to just speaking at your audience.
Okay. One of the things I know we talk about at the center is whether or not it's important to put your social media names on your resume. Of course, LinkedIn, but what about Twitter? Should they, if they have a Twitter account, should they put their?
I don't think necessarily if the job doesn't really, for me, probably because
because of what you do.
Because of what I do, but if you were going for a job in a field where maybe Twitter isn't that important in terms of what you will be doing on a daily basis, then it's probably not necessary, because it won't add to your resume in a sense that LinkedIn will, where they'll see your certificates and your badges and things of that nature.
Do you recommend that job seekers really try to increase their personal presence on social media in terms of reaching out for looking for jobs, and how do you encourage them to increase their presence on social media?
Well, definitely something we talked about in our Please Hire Me Again webinar was what to do before, during, and after an interview. And one of the things that that I specifically talked about was cleaning up your cloud.
Yes.
And this is making sure that, sure, your Facebook and Twitter is your own personal thing, but you want to make sure that if you are applying for jobs, or you are in the professional world, that you don't have inappropriate photos, or you're not complaining about waking up for your 8 a.m. shift, or complaining about a manager, even past manager, because those sites are accessible to your current employer as well as future employers.
Let me just interject, because people don't think that they are, but they are.
Definitely. If you can, you can see, and the great thing about it is you can also learn about them.
Right.
And you can go on their pages and see if you can fit in with their culture, but they can do the same about you. See if you're going to fit in with their company culture and things of that nature. So you can post personal things, because those are your personal sites, and I'm sure they'd love to come on and see your family and the cruises that we just went on. But you want to be sure that it is not complaining or going to show you in a bad light.
Right. So final tips for millennials and our seasoned workers kind of working together, and all the things that we hear about, there's this tension between them. What are some of your final tips on that?
I think my biggest thing is make sure that you're making connections no matter where you are in the workplace. So even if you're at a job that you don't currently like, and maybe you have a manager that you're not such a fan of at the time, try to make it work as best as possible, because when you leave that, or even if you're staying, you need to be able to make that work and communicate effectively together. So kind of take a step back, maybe put yourself in the other person's shoes for a moment, and just kind of recognize that you might be in that position one day and feel the same way that other person does.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Brittany. It was so nice to talk to you. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Up next, motivational speaker and author, Conor Cunneen.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Career Center. I am joined by motivational speaker and author Conor Cunneen. Conor has written several books on the 8 building blocks to a successful job search called SHEIFGAB. Conor, welcome.
Hi, Kim. Good to be back.
Thank you. So, Conor, let's do a recap on the 8 acronyms that we've already talked about, or the 5, I guess, 4 now.
Yeah.
Let's do a recap on those.
Well, the basic idea is that SHEIFGAB is an acronym for the 8 building blocks to staying sane, motivated and productive in job search. And if you adopt and adapt those 8 building blocks, you will feel better about yourself and you will be able to walk into the interview just feeling good. And as I say in the book, 12 foot tall and bulletproof. And the first ones we have covered so far, S is for structure, and it's important for job seekers to have structure, which they lose once they get into the job search a lot of the time. H is for help, and if you go out and help people who are also struggling, maybe in different ways, you're going to hear 2 of the most motivational words in the English language, which are thank you. You're going to feel better about yourself, and if you feel better about yourself, it'll help you to, as I say, SHEIFGAB the world. And the next building block is E. E is for environment. And one of the critical things that job seekers need is they need to have a good, fresh, uplifting environment. And if you're working in a stale environment, you're going to get stale.
And that's like going outside of your home.
Going outside of your home, yeah. And I mean, as you know, a lot of the job seekers that come to the Community Career Centre, they spend 90% of their time at home in a small little cubby room. And if you're spending all of your time in a small room, the air gets stale, you get stale, you lose your motivation, etc. It's important for job seekers and everyone to have a fresh environment where there's different stimuli coming in. I is about improving yourself, and the basic idea we spoke about there was that the job seeker should be able to walk into the interview and say to the recruiting or hiring manager, I am a better candidate now than when I left my last position, because while I've been in job search, I've been working hard to find something, but I've also been working on improving myself. And if you can say that to the recruiting manager, you are showing that you're proactive. You're showing you're a better candidate than if they're taking you immediately out of your position.
And being very specific in how you've improved yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to the first building block. You need to structure some time to improve yourself. And if you do that, you're going to have another reason to get out of bed in the morning. And if you spent 1 hour today and yesterday deliberately improving yourself, you're going to sleep better knowing that I have done something specific today that will help me when I go into the interview next week or the week after.
So the building blocks are all, they intertwine.
They all intertwine, and they all basically are, they're pure common sense. But what they try to do, Kim, is that the job seeker loses so much when they go into unemployment, and you know I hate that word.
I know.
And the idea is that the things that you lose are things like structure. You lose camaraderie, you lose a good environment. When you lose those, you get demotivated. And then when you get demotivated, you can't be productive in the job search. So with these SHEIFGAB building blocks, we try to get people to replace those motivating factors, then feel good about themselves, and it's going to help them with that interview and feeling productive.
Very good. Okay, so let's talk family. F. F is for family, friends.
F is for family and friends. And you know, Becky and others know the Community Career Centre as well, one of the real challenges for the job seeker is the tension and the frustration that there is at home. The job seeker feels bad because they're not providing the finances. They're psychologically, they're just demotivated and they feel frustrated. The spouse feels frustrated because they're wondering when will the husband or the wife get the position. The kids probably haven't got the money that they would have had previously. So there's so much tension and frustration there. But I think there are certain things that you can do to solve that. And one of the simple little things I suggest is that I give an analogy in the book about if you were in your previous position and you went to work at 6 o'clock every morning simply because you wanted to get your favorite parking spot. And you've been able to get that for the last 4 years, 3 months, 2 weeks, 1 day, etc. If on some terrible Tuesday you arrive in 4 years, 3 months, 2 weeks and 2 days after you've been getting your favorite parking spot and it's been taken, your first reaction is kind of to go,
what the heck? Who took my spot?
Yeah, that's right.
Let me get my key and key it up.
Now you or I would not key the car, of course, but other people would. But the reason why you react is because someone has taken your parking spot.
Right.
Now, what has that got to do with the job search? In job search, a lot of time, the person who was out of the house for 10 or 12 hours when they were in paid employment is now at home. They're on the computer when little Johnny comes in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They're taking space when they used to take space previously.
Right.
They take parking spaces at home. And when you take someone's parking space, you cause tension, you cause frustration. So my suggestion is to find ways to look at the parking spaces that you take and ask yourself, how can I reduce or stop taking those parking spaces?
And what do you suggest they do?
Well, I think the basic ones are to try and understand what are the parking spaces.
you need to know.
So let's take the computer and little Johnny or little Mary comes in at 4 o'clock and they want the computer. You should, I think, get some agreement with the family when you're going to be taking spaces at home. You should, I think, do the bulk of your work outside of the house because you were doing the bulk of your work outside the house when you're getting paid for doing your job.
Right.
Now you're doing a job but you're not getting paid,
Right.
but you should be doing it so that you don't take parking spaces outside of the house.
So, how do you suggest that, when you have the wife or the husband, they are trying to figure out how do we help the person that's unemployed through this process?
Right.
What should they be doing to help?
I think you've got to try and realise that it is a major shock to the system for everyone. So you've got to rethink certain things. One of the things you've got to understand is that this is a job. So that if you are saying that I'm going to spend 6 hours a day on job search, which is a lot. If you can do 6 hours a day productively on job search,
That's a lot.
it's a lot. It's almost unrealistic, to be honest with you.
Right.
But what you should do is you should get agreement that, all right, between 9 and 1 o'clock, I am on my job, and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Don't ask me to go to the supermarket. Don't ask me to collect the kids from school, kind of thing. That is not. Or you wouldn't ask me when I was on my paid employment. So I was trying to get an understanding from the family on that. Try also, I think, to get agreement as to when you will be at home or will not be at home. Get the kids to understand that dad or mom is actually working when they're inside in the little den or they're on the computer, and try and get an understanding of what the required mindset is for each person within the family to make sure it becomes a productive environment.
And you try to do that early on so that you don't run into those problems down the road.
Yeah, and I mean, it is tough. I mean, one of the regular comments we hear at the community centre is that maybe just the references to what the spouse said, or they felt as if they were being nagged, man or husband or wife kind of thing, because the spouse doesn't understand the pain that the job seeker is going through, but the job seeker doesn't understand the pain the spouse is going through. So there's pain involved on both sides, yet no one, a lot of the time, appreciates what the other is going through.
And I think the pain is they're both feeling or recognizing the fact that, we need money to come into the house, or, so it's just that fear of the unknown of how long is this going to take. And the more frustration you've got, and the other ironic thing is that, I mean, you get married, you're madly in love, and you want to spend all of your time with your spouse. But the fact is that human beings, man and wife, was not designed to spend 24 hours a day on their own company. And they really need to get away from each other. And when you've got a time when there's frustration, that's when they need to get away more often, I think. You're right, so right. Thanks so much, Conor, for joining me today. I appreciate it. And up next, Joy Maguire Dooley.
Good things happen at the Forest Preserve District of DuPage County. Experience more than 25,000 acres where native plants and animals make their home. Discover the scenic beauty of over 60 forest preserves containing forests, prairies, and wetlands. Explore the wonder of changing seasons along 145 miles of trails. Get outside and discover the good things that happen when you visit DuPage Forest Preserves. The Forest Preserve District of DuPage County, where good things happen.
Welcome back. I am joined by counselor and author Joy Maguire Dooley, Director of Youth and Family Services for Lisle Township. Hello, Joy. Welcome back.
Hello, Kim. Long time no see.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. You know what? We are in a new year. And
Woo-hoo.
I know. And we are, as we think about the job search for our job seekers, what are some things that you think they should be thinking about? New year, new you. People think about, starting a new exercise program. What about the job seeker?
Are you looking at me when you say starting a new exercise
No,
program?
myself, but go ahead.
Well, one thing is, just like in life, is, generally not even about jobs. When you make resolutions, it's so easy to go south with them. Mm-hmm. One thing I recommend to all job seekers is that you get a buddy. Get a buddy who will hold your feet to the fire.
Another job seeker or a networking person who may be already employed?
All the above, all the above.
Okay.
You can get a mentor. Mm-hmm. Good idea. I don't think we talk about mentors much. Maybe that would be a good topic sometime, but a mentor and or a dedicated job search person. I say job club because of what we do. But someone who understands, and when you say, I really couldn't do it because I had to pick my child up from school, or they'd say, okay, I understand that, but when are you going to do it?
Right.
Who will hold your feet to the fire, and vice versa. It's kind of like when you get a running buddy.
Right.
Nobody wants to get up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But if you know someone's standing out there waiting for you, you're more likely to do it.
It's all about accountability.
Right, and there are accountability groups.
Yeah.
But I think for the new year, just get one person and set some goals and reevaluate things and set some priorities and don't make too many.
So let's talk about that. Realistic, setting goals, expectations. What are some realistic expectations job seekers should be thinking about new year, new you?
Realistic, okay. One thing that I think we see a lot at the center is people who have been very productive in the workplace and they think, well, I'll get a job within 30 days. You and I have found out that that's not always the case, and most likely that isn't the case. So realistic expectations about time, realistic expectations about finances. What is that going to take between now and my next success? So I think, don't set, 13 different goals, but maybe 3 really strong ones, and then sit down with someone maybe at the center and talk about what those goals are and how you can best handle those.
And when you talk about finances, salary, oftentimes job seekers come in and they've been at a certain salary level, and now there's an expectation that they're going to be there again.
Okay.
So,
and chances are they will. But on the off chance, remember, we're going to plan A and plan B. On the off chance that they like the job, they like the company. Remember, we talk about having target companies. Target where you want to work. So this is a place you want to work. And they offer you, say you were making, I don't know, 100,000, and they offer you 80. Well, you've already said to yourself, I want to work there, I like the job, and perhaps maybe I can negotiate something else around that. But salary should not be the only driving force. And so if 80,000 in a place where you want to work, and it's a good job that you like, then I would
go
say,
for it.
Yes.
Another thing, new year, new you, maybe take some time to review your resume.
Okay. It goes back to, as you and I both know, if there are 10 people with resumes critiquing it, you've got 10 different,
views.
If it's working for you, say you're getting, in 2014, you got a lot of interviews, you got a lot of good stuff coming back from your resume, then leave it alone. But if you haven't and you weren't getting interviews, definitely sit down with someone and go over your resume.
Another tip I was thinking of is reevaluating your approach to the job search. So, instead of looking at it as, I'm going to do this Monday and for a couple hours and Tuesday for an hour and take off Wednesday, you really need to look at it as a full-time thing.
Yeah, it is. It's an unpaid job, correct. And I know it's really hard. Well, it's hard for anyone, paid or unpaid, to for 40 straight hours stay with it. That's why there are breaks. That's why there are lunch breaks. But I also find that If you are having a day where nothing's working, take the day off and then...
And it's okay to do that.
Right, it is okay. I give you permission to do that.
Joy has given her blessing.
But then maybe on Saturday, go over to our Savior's Lutheran Church or something and to their transition group, or go to the Community Career Center till 1 o'clock. You know, have some accountability when there's that word again. But in the meantime, cut yourself some slack. And I think the new you also has to be about the whole you, not just the job. Are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your relationships? It's kind of like that pie shape, and then you break it into segments.
Right.
You don't eat the whole pie at once. Well, some of us do.
Yeah, but how does the person do that, Joy, when they, in a situation where you're working full time? I mean, you have all that, but now here you're going through the unemployment process. You're trying to take care of yourself, trying to take care of those relationships, but you're a little down in the dumps. What are some suggestions that people can do to kind of work on that?
Down in the dumps is something that can happen so easily if you stay down in your house dumps. Get out of the house. Go to the community career center. Go to the library. Go to the gym. Walk the dog. I recommend that whatever you're doing, 2 hours at a time, do it, and then take a break. And then you get refreshed, more creative, and do something fun. And mark that as part of your job search. What's one person's fun is, playing tennis. Another person's fun is reading a good book, whatever. But mark that into your calendar.
Okay.
And have a calendar.
And have a calendar.
Right.
Okay. So another thing, maybe expanding their network. Look at expanding your network in this new year.
Yeah, sometimes people get into a groove. I call it a groove. And they go the same places, and then you can't expect new things if you're in the same groove. So do some of the same groove, and then, this week I'm going to try such and such. That's a good resolution. I just thought of that. No, we could do this together. We can do lunch every Wednesday.
Lunch. There you go.
Try something new every week. I'm not saying every day.
It doesn't have to cost money.
Maybe it's writing a letter. We had someone today at the job clubs just say the very same thing, that they sat down and wrote to their former boss, two of their former bosses, about how thankful they were, what they had learned from them, so they could take with them to the next job. And they got 2 callbacks from those 2 people. And that's not why this person did it. But so the point is, something new might be once a week. Contact someone you haven't talked to in a while, whether it be former colleagues, alumni. How many people do you see?
Alumni,
Do you see a lot of people at the center that use their alumni to their...
Some. It's interesting when we bring that up, people say, I didn't even think about that. But being connected to your alumni association is huge.
I know someone who got a job doing that they called their alumni association in Ohio, their college, and then in Ohio there wasn't one, so they formed one.
Wow.
Meanwhile, they're calling all these people, telling them that we're doing this group. They got a job from calling one of those calls.
So expanding your network is very important. Well, Joy, thank you so much. I appreciate
we were just having fun.
We're having fun. Thank you. I appreciate you coming on today again with me.
Thanks for having me.
I want to thank Brittany, Conor, and Joy for being a part of this month's edition of Career Center. If you are unemployed, underemployed, or seeking a career change, please visit us at the Career Center, 1815 West Hill Road, Suite 900. Thanks for watching.